We all know those moments where your bladder betrays us and you're like, what the hell just happened, right? If you've ever found yourself bracing before a sneeze or casually packing a panty liner before a workout, or you're like looking where the next bathroom is wherever you are at, you're not alone. Hey friends, welcome back to Vaginal Speaking, where we talk about all the things pelvic health, womanhood, and body truth. No shame, no fluff, just real talk. So before I get started on what this episode is going to be, I need to start with a little story. Lots of people are liking the phrase I said that spit is not lube, and I mean it. Okay, so just the other day I was at Target with my children, trying to keep my sanity, and I look over, and if your Target is the same as ours, all of the adult products are like on an end cap. And these, what I would assume were teenagers, but they probably were older than that. They just look so young. They were standing there and they were all looking at all the different lubes. And if I didn't have my children with me, I kid you not, I would have gone up to them because there was like, I don't know, 5, 7 of them. And I would have said, do not use this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. Use this one. Target has a Good Clean Love, which is one of our top ones that we recommend in our clinic. Please, for the love of Jesus, do not use any of the other ones. I actually really don't understand why a lot of our stores sell the ones they do, because that is just not good for your vagina, nor his penis. I don't think any of that feels good. Anyways, so I just had to tell that story because lots of people like the spit's not lube. And so Good Clean Love and Slippery Stuff, those are our top ones that we like to recommend in our clinic. So if you're looking for something besides your saliva, purchase those too. Okay. So today we're diving into one of the most common and most commonly ignored issues: leaking pee when you sneeze or laugh or run or jump. We all know those moments where your bladder betrays us and you're like, what the hell just happened, right? If you've ever found yourself bracing before a sneeze or casually packing a panty liner before a workout, or you're like looking where the next bathroom is wherever you are at, you're not alone. This episode is for you. And we're going to talk about why this happens. And no, it's not because you've had children. What not to do, Kegels, what actually helps, and how to start regaining trust in your body when you have to sneeze, jump, laugh. All right, let's bust some myths first, okay? And take the power back starting now. All right. So this is why it happens when we sneeze, jump, laugh, cough, why we leak some urine. Okay. So inside our body, there is a pressure system. Okay. And if you are listening to this and not watching it, and you need a visual, I recommend hopping on and watching this video of this podcast, and hopefully it helps you. But inside our body, there's like a hammock. Our pelvic floor is like a hammock, okay? And I say that it's like a nice, relaxed hammock, okay? And when we are not doing the sneezing, coughing, laughing, all of that, but we're just going through our day, when we inhale, that hammock should get a little bit looser, more relaxed, right? We inhale, relax that pelvic floor. And when we exhale, that hammock comes up and protects, okay? So in our body, it's kind of like this. Some of you may have heard, people will talk about your pelvic floor as like a jellyfish or a tissue blowing in the wind. I like to throw it back to the 90s kids, and I say that parachute game, right? So when you're relaxed, the parachute's down on the ground, and when you're ready to have some fun and all the energy, the parachute goes up in the air and you run through, okay? So throwing it to the 90s. So when we add in pressure to our body, a sneeze, a cough, a laugh, we've got to think about that abdominal area being squeezed like a balloon. Okay. Or I also like to throw it of like a pop can that is closed and we're shaking it up, right? And then what happens when we shake up a pop can and we give it a space for it to release, right? We open the top. It goes everywhere, right? So the same can happen if we are not protecting that pelvic floor by bringing that hammock up. So that pressure wants to go somewhere. And if our pelvic floor isn't able to respond and hold on in the moment, guess what takes a hit? Your bladder. It finds an exit. It's going out. Okay. So this can also be referred to as stress urinary incontinence. And it's not stress like you're stressed out, although like that also happens because if I'm going to pee my pants, I'm probably stressed out mentally and after I peed my pants. But it's really more like physical stress, such as the force or pressure. But here's the kicker. It's not always because our pelvic floor is too weak. A lot of people like to talk about the pelvic floor being too weak. And I need to strengthen my pelvic floor, which is true. We need to have a nice, strong pelvic floor. But there is a difference between strength and tension, or people like to talk about your pelvic floor is tight. Okay. There's a difference in what we want it to feel like. Okay. And so if our pelvic floor is too tight, too much tone, we've got a lot of challenges there because it's not able to coordinate how we want it to do because all this tension is just like holding on like this, right? And then if you want it to go down, it's like, yeah, right, I'm holding on for dear life right here, so I can't move. And we need our pelvic floor to move with us. So it also could be that we're not too tight, we're not too loose or weak. We just don't remember how to coordinate our pelvic floor, right? So inhale, that pelvic floor comes down. Exhale, that pelvic floor comes up. Now, what does this have to do with sneezing, coughing, laughing? Okay, those are all forceful exhales, all right? So when we sneeze, our pelvic floor should actually come up and protect, right? So we're just walking along, breathing. We have a sneeze coming on. Our pelvic floor goes up. We sneeze. It's protected. We don't pee our pants. Okay. Same with coughing. Same with laughing. So we need to make sure that we can coordinate that properly with our breath and our core. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean like go out and do 1.5 million ab exercises because, if I have really strong abs, I can prevent myself from peeing my pants. If we can engage our abdominal area properly, it will definitely help minimize that challenge. But there's lots of parts to this. And it's why I highly recommend, if you have the means, to go see a pelvic floor therapist so that we can find out exactly what the root cause is of your incontinence and leakage, because nobody needs that. And it's not normal, but it is very common. So anyways, our bodies are very smart, okay? And they learn how to compensate to help us function. But sometimes we need to re-educate it on how to engage properly. Now, I also want you to think, please do not just hold your stomach in really tight, thinking that like, if I hold my stomach tight, my pelvic floor is hanging out up here. Okay, a couple things wrong with that. One, remember, we don't want it to hang up here the whole time. We want it to go up and down. Two, I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to suck in your stomach, and then I want you to take a really deep breath and see where you can get that air. How far can you get it down? I bet you can't get it down into the deep part of your core, and we need to be able to, okay? So there's also, with that abdominal pressure, and this needs its own episode, but a lot of us have been told by society to hold our stomach in, suck it in, and flex it so we look skinny, right? And our stomach looks flat. That does not do well for our pelvic floor. If we do that, we are creating a horrible pressure system in our body. It can't function the way it needs to do. So please, for the love of Jesus, quit holding in your abs. There's a difference between sucking in, flexing, and engaging your abs, okay? And we need to engage with the proper timing to help with the coordination, okay? So what are the most common things us women are told that doesn't work? All right. So all of us, have heard just do more Kegels. You know my thought on Kegels. They're not doing anything for us. Okay. I will stand on that soapbox that Kegels are not getting to the root cause. They're a Band-Aid to fix what's going on, but it's not really a fix, right? It might be a fix for like 2 months. If individuals have a hypertonic pelvic floor, meaning that too tight, which majority of the people I see do, if you do a Kegel on top of that, you're only telling your body you really like that tension and tone. And we don't want that, okay? So not good. Number 2, most people do not know how to do a Kegel correctly because most people aren't having somebody sit down there and watch them do one, right? So if you're sitting there doing it incorrectly, then you're telling your body that coordination incorrectly. And 3, if we need to strengthen our pelvic floor, it most likely isn't that we need to do a Kegel to do that. It most likely is deeper than that in the pelvis that we need to look at and figure out why our body is compensating and help get to that problem or challenge and fix that or strengthen the accessory muscles so that we can get to the root and have you not peeing your pants long-term instead of just 2 months, okay? It's normal after kids to pee your pants. Come on, say it with me. It's common, not normal, okay? Yes, it is unfortunately very common after kids that our body needs that re-education to learn how to coordinate that abdominal pressure and maybe strengthen some areas. But it is not normal. We do not have to live with that. We should not be just, okay, that's it. I had Frankie and Sue over here. Guess I'm going to pee my pants for the rest of my life. Absolutely not. Wear a pad and move on. I don't know about you, but first of all, nobody likes wearing a pad. It feels like a diaper and it gets like moved all over the place and sometimes it's itchy and nobody wants to wear one of those. And it's expensive to like spend money on it. I mean, come on. We should get money to buy our products since we have to wear them every month, but that's a different story. So absolutely, we shouldn't have to wear a pad and move on. Nobody should have to wear a pad every single day, okay? This is my favorite one. Just avoid jumping, sneezing, laughing, coughing, all those things. Since 1, that's possible. How is it possible to just avoid sneezing, laughing? I guess if you have a boring life, maybe you don't laugh, but you can't just avoid sneezing and coughing. And if you have children, you probably don't want to avoid jumping. Or if you're at a concert, hello. I was just at a TLC concert and I was jumping and singing, right? Like we don't want to not do that. So here's the truth. Kegels aren't a one-size-fits-all fix. Avoiding it doesn't heal anything at all. It doesn't help you. And peeing when you sneeze is common, not normal. So let's talk about what can actually help. Breath and coordination. Breathwork is the foundation of pelvic floor therapy, and it's probably the most annoying part of therapy. I tell this to every single one of my patients because if I was sitting in the room and a therapist told me, all right, we're going to work on breathing, I would probably literally be like, what do you mean? I breathe to stay alive. Like, I'm not working on breathing. It is truly one of the biggest factors that if we don't know how to breathe properly, then we're not going to get to the root cause and help decrease that challenge. So we need to work on the breathing. And if you remember what I said earlier, when we inhale, okay, so we're going to smell the roses. Our pelvic floor should lengthen. That breath should get all the way down into our stomach. Now, some of you may have heard like diaphragmatic breathing, and you're like, what is that? Or belly breathing. Our breath should go all the way down into our belly, kind of like a balloon. But we also have to remember that like our rib cage should also move 360. Like it should move from the front, the back, and the sides, okay? We will have some chest movement, but we don't want just our chest, okay? And let me back it up for a second. If you're sitting in a doctor's office and they say, take a deep breath, Carol, you may go, right? Well, if you're watching the video, you just saw me inhale and I completely raised my body chest, right? And then I exhaled and I brought my body down. So some of you may say, okay, the relaxing part of my breath is that exhale. Well, what a true breath that we want is that inhaling is actually the relaxing part of breathing. And the exhale is when we engage that deep core and pull that air up and out. So if you're holding your breath during certain movements, I'm talking to some of you heavy weightlifters, you're going for a PR, you're standing up and you've got your mouth clenched and you're not breathing at all. You probably peed a little bit, or maybe a toot came out. Or if it didn't happen in the moment, after that set, you run into the bathroom. Or if you're gripping your abs, or you're clenching your butt all day. I'm talking about every single one of you. I want you to think today when you go by the sink or standing at the bar or you're in a meeting and you don't get to sit, you're standing, anything where you're really standing for a period of time. And check in with your tush back there. Let me know if you're clenching it or if it's fully relaxed. I can bet money most of yours are going to be clenched, okay? So if those are all happening, or some of those, you're holding your breath, you're gripping your abs, you're clenching your butt all day, your pelvic floor is probably like, I give up. What am I supposed to do? This is too much work. So here's the gold one, all right? Blow before you go. Before you sneeze, cough, or lift, let's try exhaling gently. That preemptively engages your deep core to support your pelvic floor like a team effort. Okay. So it engages your deep core, supports your pelvic floor, and it's together. Okay. So some people, again, this is probably for another episode, but the urgency of having to go to the bathroom, they're like, oh my gosh, if I don't get to the bathroom now, I am going to pee my pants. And a lot of them do on the way. They'll tinkle a little bit to the bathroom. And I will say, this is going to sound crazy, but I want you to take a deep breath when you feel that urge, because that exhale is going to help pull things up while we're walking, not running, walking to the bathroom. Okay. So stop. Rule number 2, stop squeezing things all day long. Okay. Being tight in our body is not the same as being strong. Constant clenching leads to exhaustion. It fatigues our muscles and it confuses the hell out of them because they don't know what's up, down, right, left, top, bottom, anything. They're just trying to help you function. And if they can't do it the right way, they're going to figure out how to do it to help you function. And it's probably going to be wrong. Okay. So a strong pelvic floor knows when to turn on and when to relax. Next up, move with intention. Learn how to lift, jump, squat, or even run in a way that honors your core and your floor. It's not about avoiding movement. It's about smart movement and proper form. Again, another reason we really highly recommend, if it's possible, seeing a specialist who knows what we're looking for. Pelvic floor therapy is not a one-size-fits-all type of solution. If it's in the means, seeing a pelvic floor therapist in person is really going to tell us a lot about the individual's body, their needs, and their goals. Okay? So that leads me into get support. A pelvic floor occupational or physical therapist is life-changing. You don't want to have to guess your way through this. And you also don't want it to get so far down that you stop doing the things you love and feel like there's no going back. Because we can get you to those goals. I promise you, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that we can reach the goals you want to. And if we can't, we certainly are going to figure out how to get real damn close. Okay? So let me say this loud and clear for all of you. Leaking is not your fault. It does not mean your body is broken. And it doesn't mean you just have to live with it. Your body is incredible. It just needs to be heard, supported, and reconnected, not shamed or ignored. So here's your takeaway. Sneezing shouldn't be a threat. Laughing shouldn't come with a liner. And leaking is not your new normal. You're not alone. You are not broken. And you deserve to move, laugh, and live without worrying about leaks. If this episode gave you even one aha moment, I'd love it if you share it with a friend, especially the one who jokes about peeing when she laughs, but deep down hates it. And if you're curious about what support could look like, DM me. Send me your questions. Or check out the links in the show notes. I've got you. We've got you. We're a team. We're a tribe. We're a community. Thanks for being here. And I'll catch you next time on Vaginally Speaking, where we speak the truth, leak less, and take our power back. Toodles.